All right, we now have to put a few finishing touches on this intro text composition by fixing the issue with the masks that no longer work when we're in this ray traced 3D mode. So the animated masks are not working anymore, and we have a problem with that. And what we need to do in order for these wipes that we created to actually render, the two layers with animated masks need to be precomposed. That way these elements can be put into a composition that has the classic 3D render applied to it, which allows for those animated masks to work. So we need to do this precomposing. It's basically another way of nesting a composition or putting one composition into another where it shows up as a single layer, thereby grouping all of the nested composition's constituent layers. So to precompose one or more layers is the equivalent of cutting selected layers from our current composition, making a new one, pasting those layers into the new composition, and then nesting that composition back into the original. Sounds like a lot of work and a lot of garbage, and the cool thing is that there is a single command in After Effects to do this for us. Thankfully. So we're going to select the new music video by, and we're going to hold down Command, and we're going to select our poolside logo outline. So we just selected these two pieces that have the masks, and they need to be in classic 3D mode in order to render correctly. So we're going to take those two out. We're going to precompose them, let them work in their own unit that classic 3D can be applied to, and then we're going to plop that composition back in this one. So with those two selected, we're going to come up to our layer panel, and we're going to go to the bottom and choose Precompose. And it says, what do you want to name this new thing that we've created? We're going to call this Intro Logo. And make sure that this box is checkmarked, open in a new composition. We want a new composition to show up down here. So with that checked, go ahead and click OK. And we should have a new composition down here, Intro Logo. Notice that what we have in it is just those two masked layers. And when we look back at our other one, the one called Intro Text, we see that those have been pulled out and have been replaced by this new composition, this nested composition called Intro Logo. Let's go back to our Intro Logo in our timeline, and we're going to switch this one back to 3D. So up here at the top right in the renderer, we're going to switch from ray traced back to classic 3D and say OK. And then if we run a RAM preview here, it's back to working. So that's good. Now we're going to go back to our timeline for the intro text composition. We have this one, this precomposed composition nested into it now. And we need to activate the 3D switch for this nested composition. So we're going to turn on the 3D box for this new nested composition right here. We're also going to change its position. So with it selected, we're going to press the letter P, and we're going to change its Z position, or its position in space, to be 100. All right, now let's nest this intro text composition, this whole thing that we've made, back into the one called Poolside. That's the one that has the video going on in the background. So we're going to choose the timeline for the Poolside intro text. Remember where we started with this video of the band playing in the background. And I'm at a small view. I'm going to bump that up to be fit up to 100%, so it just fills my screen better. And then in our project panel over here, we're going to find the composition called Intro Text. This is what it looks like. So it's got the orange extrusions and our reveal, our mask reveal of the turquoise type. We're going to take that and we're going to drag it down and stack it above our actual movie down here in our timeline. And we're going to activate the 3D switch for this so it can have its 3D ability. So turn on the 3D switch for the intro text nested composition. And in order to get the extrusions and everything to work again, to make it look correct, we need to turn on the ray traced renderer again. So pop up to your top right corner up here, click on renderer, and switch it to the ray traced option, and then say OK. And what we're going to do now is we're going to rotate this so that the bottom plane of our extrusions are more or less parallel with the floor in this background video clip. So with our intro text composition still selected, down here we're going to press the letter R, and that's going to bring up 4 properties: orientation, X, Y, and Z rotation. And we're going to choose this first orientation right here, and we're going to change it to 15% and hit enter. And notice how it kind of tipped forward as if this were a piece of glass with our words on it, and it angled it forward, tipped it towards us a little bit, so that those extrusions line up to where the floor is in this video. It's a little hard to see all of this. All right. One last thing that we need to do to make our extrusions look really correct. They're still there, but by default, After Effects treats a nested composition, which this is, as a flat 2D plane, even though our 3D switch is turned on. So in order for nested 3D space to show, we have to activate the layer's collapse transformation switch, which is that little sunshine switch right here. So we need to turn on the sunshine, and now notice that our 3D extrusions came back. So from here, we are through page 43, and we have successfully accomplished this part of the book.